It is now 6:30. I'd like to call this council meeting to order of the City of Monessen, February the 9th. It's now 6:30. Could I ask Bishop Bass to lead us off in prayer, please?
We'll do a roll call first.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to do a roll call real fast. Okay.
Councilperson Thomas?
Here.
Councilman Nestor?
Present.
Councilman Gregor?
Here.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Here.
Mayor Mosher?
Present. Now,
Father, we thank you for the privilege to come before you. You said in your word that men ought to always pray and not to faint. And you said in all our ways acknowledge you. And here we are tonight doing just that. We ask your blessings and your grace upon this meeting, upon our mayor and all of council and all the city officials that are participating. Help us, God, as we meet tonight, that we keep in mind our objectives, and that is, God, to make Monessen a better place for all of its citizens. Help us, God, as we stand here tonight, that we submit ourselves to your will. We thank you for your blessings, how you woke us up this morning. We thank you how you kept us all day safe and secure. Now we ask you to bless this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to ask council to review the minutes of the previous January 26th session and make a motion to approve it once ready.
Mayor, motion to approve minutes for the previous session of January 26, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to public comment on agenda items only.
Ernest, telegraphist, 29 Rex. What's amazing about this syllabus tonight is all you got is motions to pay this, motions to transfer this. And all these payments are being made from what? Public funds. There's nothing being generated in Monessen from the private sector to pay anything in the city. Now, I have a big question here for Tony. Councilman Tony, you made a big issue about making 16 different bank checking accounts so you could keep them separate, but yet I notice the same game plan is going on here. You're taking money from one account, paying the bill to another account. So what is this 16 different checking accounts whenever you're still shucking and diving here with all these funds?
Ernie, do you know anything about banking?
You don't, because 2018 is missing because you were deputy mayor. And that's why Cypress.
Okay, come on.
I was
Okay.
mayor in 2018.
You were deputy mayor
It was in
2018.
Hey, let's,
Okay, well, 2018 was missing because of you. I don't want to hear nothing about you because you're a fraud.
hey,
What's
let's,
missing?
what's
The
missing?
2018, Cypress says they don't have 2018 records.
They did,
Could I ask you?
they were
what-
not the
what-
auditors
what's
in
on the-
2018.
What is on here that you're questioning?
Right, what is,
I
Well,
mean,
the thing is,
You said something about Councilman Orchakowski, and I'm not
yeah,
defending
he
you.
made a big thing about
And what's
keeping
your
separate
point?
checking accounts, and yet I see the same game
You
plan.
still have to move the funds,
Transferring
Ernie.
funds from here to
You
there.
you still have
Ernie,
Then
to,
what's the purpose of having 16 checking accounts?
Because you're required to keep funds separate so you could
Yeah,
track
separate, so
them.
we could shekel and dive, okay. Now, the other thing is, with this motion here on page 3, that you are appealing.
Huh?
Hmm?
Says that you're appealing.
What page, Ernie?
what page, what item?
Page 2. D. Motion to repeal ordinance. What are we repealing here?
I take that one.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. This is a city ordinance that is attempted to be duplicative of the state law called the Municipal Code and Compliance Act. What the state code requires and what the city is already following is that if you have a building that has code violations, all municipalities across the state are required to issue a temporary occupancy permit. That's not, or no, I'm sorry, a temporary use permit. That's not occupancy. That means you're allowed to go into the building to fix whatever issues there are. The city's ordinance got it wrong, let's say.
How did it
There's
get
no
it
need.
wrong?
There's no need for the ordinance.
So you created an ordinance when you didn't need to?
I did not. This was
No, I'm not
previously-
saying you personally.
That's exactly what happened.
Whose administration was that?
It was passed, it's ordinance 10 of 2020, so it was passed in 2020.
Okay, and then, E. What are we discussing about advertising, rules and regulations? What's that all about?
You want that one? That's the public comment resolution.
Yeah, certainly. We can discuss that now, or we can discuss that then. But basically what it boils down to is city council is a method of providing the public an opportunity to see what we do with their money. Hence, you see the motions to spend the money, to move money from account to account, to do things that city councils do. City councils can also do things that affect the people. They set tax rates, they can do various things. We prepare a agenda that describes this pretty well. And we give opportunity for people such as yourself right now to talk about those items on the agenda. What we're trying to do is to eliminate some of the personal attacks of which you just demonstrated. That is not appropriate for a city council meeting. The city council meetings, you can question any motions that we do. You can even suggest new motions to be done. But if you're wanting to do personal attacks, what I would propose is on the third Thursday of each month, as in next Thursday, I will hold a town hall right here. I will stream it live to YouTube. It will be one that people can come and talk about anything for any reason whatsoever, whether it has anything to do with the city or not. So what I'm asking is that you and everybody else think about what it is you're trying to present and present it professionally. It needs to be related to things that are on the agenda at this point
In this section of the meeting.
in this section of the meeting.
And what this does, Mr. Telegraphist, it limits public comments to 3 minutes.
Oh, so that's the new rule, sir?
No, not yet. We're going to talk about
It's
it.
on the agenda.
It's on the agenda to talk about.
Okay, now, when are you engaging in YouTube? Because none of the meetings are on YouTube anymore.
Well, they are, in fact, on YouTube, and I'll give you the link. In fact, you can go to the city webpage, and you can look at any council meeting on the web that
Okay, so
you're
I
in.
have to go to the city webpage?
No, you don't have to. You can find it on YouTube if you Google it.
All right, for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments on agenda items? I don't believe we have any correspondence, but I would ask the solicitor to give us his report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. First, I'd like to talk about, there is a resolution on tonight's agenda regarding the repayment to the line usage fund. If you remember, I believe at the first meeting in January, the city's auditors were here. They explained that a certain sum of money, $448,938, was owed from the general fund back to the line usage fund. They recommended that the city pay back those funds. This is the process to do that. The third-class city code says that the city can borrow money from the line usage fund, but they have to pay it back either by the end of that calendar year or at a time that council shall so decide. So what this ordinance does is it sets forth quarterly payments over a period of 40 years at 1 1/4 percentage point of an interest rate. The quarterly payment beginning March 31st through this year through December 31st, 2062 will be $2,030.76. The city didn't pull this repayment out of thin air. It was recommended by the auditors that the city take the same term of the USDA loan that's being utilized for the sewage improvement projects and model it after that. It's highly unlikely that it's going to take 40 years to repay this, because at least once a year, the city reconciles its general fund and its line usage fund account for the portion of the employee's wages for their time that's spent on maintaining the sewage lines. For instance, at the last meeting, the city did exactly that. They credited the line usage fund in an amount of just over $70,000. So right now, the city's general fund owes the line usage fund $301,595.15. Any questions?
No, but just as a point of interest, I've asked our city clerk to reconcile that on a quarterly basis to match this. There is every expectation that we will keep the streets clean with the street sweeper. We will continue to repair storm drains as required as we can. And those things that we do will be credited towards the payment that we are being asked to do. The previous years, like we said, we did some $70,000 worth of that last year. The year before that, it was in the neighborhood of $50,000, and it's been over $25,000 for many years, even before we were tracking it well. The point being is, I do not expect this to ever hit the budget. This fund should really be something that we pay back through work, through doing the things that the line usage requires us to do in any event.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in layman's is, we need a repair on the street sweeper, and that repair, let's say, goes to $20,000. That $20,000 can be credited into the line usage
Against our payment.
against our payment.
And at the current rate that we're going, we'll have that loan paid off much before 40 years, more likely 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
Okay. 3 to 4 years.
If there was something that was to happen, our street sweeper break and we were unable to do storm drains, that would be the possible worst case. Okay.
Nonetheless, you, by state law, have to tell the public when you intend to pay that money back.
Right.
We talked about the repeal of ordinance 10 of 2020. Public comment resolution was also talked about. My office did receive some quiet title actions filed by the Westmoreland County Land Bank. There's nothing the city has to do with these. This is part of the process for the county demolition project. These are properties that were acquired through judicial sale. This is the land bank ensuring that the title of these properties is clear and they can go through the demolition or potential rehab process depending on the status of that property. I just bring it up to note that that process is continuing to move forward. There were about 15 properties in the one I sent over, I believe. Yeah, 15 properties in the one that I sent over. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. We are going to hold off on the city treasurer's report until he shows up. He is going to be late. We told him we would get him on the agenda once he showed up. So we'll come back to that report once he shows up. The city controller also indicated that she would give her report at the next meeting. So neither of those are available right this very moment. Which takes us to new business, the motions that I have. And the very first one, I'd like to make a motion to table the Reynolds Brothers payment application number 5, sewer rehabilitation project phase 4, MON 2021-02, and to the Pinvest in the amount of $30,840.69. Could I have a second on that?
Second, Mayor.
Is there questions?
Any particular reason why?
Yes. It turns out that number A and number C, if you add them together, equal number B. That it is a confusion factor that occurred in the way that they're invoicing us, and we've worked with WEC to correct that. So this shouldn't happen. So basically, we do not want to do A and we do not want to do C, and I'll make a motion to table C in just a second.
And it was done at the recommendation of the engineers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a confusion in the way that they've been invoicing us, and it's just a problem. Anyway, we had a motion and a second. Could I call a roll, please?
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Aye. And as long as we're going to do it, I'm going to jump to C and make a motion to table the payment request number 11 for engineering, design, and construction management and observation in the amount of $37,938.76 to Pinvest for the sewer rehabilitation project phase 4. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. There's well, there are some changes in mine, so I'm going to go ahead and read these myself this time for a change.
We do that, didn't
Yes.
So you did?
No, I'm going to.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to submit payment request number 13, sewer rehabilitation project phase 4, MON 2021-02, to Pinvest in the amount of $68,990.75. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. The next one is, we need to change it just very slightly. This needs to be a motion for the first reading to repeal the ordinance of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, repealing ordinance number 10-2020, Chapter 171 of the City Code of Ordinances, which established the City of Monessen Municipal Code and the Municipal Code and Ordinance Compliance Act,
And to advertise.
and to advertise. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. They get easier from here. The discussion to and motion. Oh, okay. Discussion and motion to discuss the resolution of the council of the city of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, establishing rules and regulations for public participation at all advertising and all advertised regular and special meetings of the council in the city of Monessen. I would like to limit this to discussion at this point and not introduce this as a motion, but rather something that we can play with a little bit today. I've got a timer that will actually time people, and it will be something that people can see what they're doing. And I'm going to break from tradition just very briefly here. Is there anybody that would like to discuss this particular thing first on council? I do not have any intention on restricting First Amendment rights. That is not the purpose of this.
I
No.
just think sometimes people aren't gonna be able to get their point across in 3 minutes.
And if that's the case, if there is a event, just say as an example, somebody was to run into the library and knock a wall down, we'd have two choices: either demolish the library or redo it. That would be something that might be not only unlimited time, but it might span several different days or even weeks with constant discussion because there would be so much people from the city.
My concern would be, say, Linda, I'm gonna pick on you. Linda has 3 or 4 different questions and comments that she would like to make about something. Are we going to limit each one to 3 minutes, or is she can only speak for 3 minutes? I mean, I'm looking at the situation where there's people with multiple questions and they have to get this all in 3 minutes. That would be somewhat difficult. Would we make it?
I think that council always has the ability to extend it as long as necessary. But council goes to great pains to prepare an agenda. We make some mistakes along the way, as we made on this one, and we corrected them in the process.
Welcome to the real world.
Welcome to the real world. But the bottom line is, I think that we do need to establish some guidelines. There should never be direct purpose of city council is to direct motions to control the city. There's motions made to put in traffic signals for Pino when we did the one-way signs. There's motions to pay bills. There's motions for all different kinds of things. That's the purpose of a city council meeting. And it's very effective when we have the people do those things. What it's not a purpose for is for personal attacks or for getting up and saying, what's going on at Best Medical? Because that has nothing to do with the city that we can control. And that's really what I'm really asking, is that people prepare their thoughts.
Okay, I beg to differ on that point, because if you're gonna use Best Medical as a scenario in this,
Mhm.
they are still in Monessen.
Right. But city council, other than zoning and so forth, has no control over them.
So you mean that somebody can come in here and do whatever they want just because they have a building there?
We can have rules. Council can pass rules and say you can only do these kinds of things. Council has zoning requirements. We can do those things, but we can't necessarily take a piece of private property away from somebody.
Well, I don't think that's what this is about.
No, it's not. I'm just giving some examples.
Okay. Because like I'm saying, if,
So we've been talking quite a bit, and we still got 46 seconds to go
yeah,
for whatever is reason.
yeah, I'm a resident.
And always,
Here.
I'm going to stop it because this is a,
Take more than 3 minutes to explain what this.
and if there is, we have the ability to stop that if there's something that makes sense.
Well, I can understand the personal attacks, but you see this on TV every day.
Right. Well, but this isn't TV every day. This is we're holding to a higher standard.
Sometimes residents get really frustrated about what's going on here
Mhm.
sometimes. And sometimes you lash out at city council because residents are basically paying to run this town. So I think we have to say, we can say anything we want to say about what's going on here. That's how I feel about it.
Well, okay.
I don't
Yeah.
personally wanna.
I don't think it's, everyone has a right to say what they wanna say,
Right.
but I think the issue is how you say it and not calling people out, call them names out of their name and things like
Well,
that.
Lois, how many times have people
I,
attacked you? I've been
right, I know, I
attacked
agree too, but
almost every day.
that doesn't mean I don't like it one bit,
I don't like it
and you
either,
don't do it
but
either. But
they do.
that's why we're just trying to, it's not even, we know it happens, but the thing is trying to put a.
And they should just let it roll off of their back, just like I did.
What I'm really like to do is move this to a town hall type scenario where people can carry on about anything that they want to for whatever reason.
All right, I'm gonna be totally.
Who's the person that says for valuable reason?
Well, it'd have to be council as a whole. It'd have to be council as a whole.
Just you guys.
Council, yes.
But we don't count.
No, if you've got a valid point that you're trying to make,
No,
then,
no different. If it's look, you guys are complaining all the time, saying that there's not enough people attend the meeting, right? And we heard you last time to say people need to attend the
They do.
meeting. So now you're basically saying those that attend the meeting are a troublemaker because they're asking questions that we don't like. So we're gonna put a time on it. So if I got more than one question, you're gonna tell me, well, your 3 minutes are up.
no,
Get
no,
out of here?
not necessarily. In fact, you're a perfect example of how things can work for the positive. You had a problem on
Work for the positive, you resign.
well, that's the personal attack that I'm talking about. But as an example, you wanted,
Trying to be the red, white, and blue flag that we have, you like to turn it into a common.
can I finish my statement? Can I?
We're not gonna control. Let me tell you something about control. Nothing stops me from picking in this building every day and time you have a meeting.
And that's
I
fine.
will do that.
That's
And I
fine.
will have people with me doing that. And I'm telling you, it ain't gonna be nice, but if you put that into action, that you do not allow us to speak the way we want to, you got a problem, man. You got a problem, trust me. We'll make the newspaper look bad. How's that?
Okay, and one thing I wanna say on top of that is that how many residents come to the city council meeting and now you wanna do a town hall? They don't come, and I can't understand why.
Well, maybe town hall might open up the forum a little bit, a
Came
little.
up with that idea.
But we had the economic summit up the high school a couple weeks ago. There was no residents up there,
There's 75 people there, better.
but there wasn't residents from Monessen.
Well, there was plenty of
There
residents
was
from
a few, yeah.
75.
No, they were not, Mayor.
Well, I got 75 names from Monessen that bought tickets, is what I can tell you.
Yeah, but 75 people were not up there from Monessen. So, my
Okay.
thing is,
What are the three mayors that came up with that idea?
It was something that was brought up by myself, and I'm not saying I'm going to implement it, but I'm just saying this for discussion. Excuse me?
You talk to yourself,
I sometimes do.
but you don't ask the other two mayors.
That's what we're-
Into your end of it, you don't ask them.
This wasn't anything to do with them.
I told him before, you come up to my house, I have Pinocchio there, and he's on wire. Okay, whenever we pull the wire, he jumps. Whenever I want him to sit down, I said, make him sit down. Okay, and that's what you do.
Okay.
okay, I just wanna make this comment. If I have something to say about where I live or my street, and if it takes more than 3 minutes, I'm taking more than 3 minutes. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
just think it should be tabled. I think
Well,
most of the people.
this
I
is
think
not a
most of the
motion.
people are pretty respectful and they are sticking to the point when making discussions, and whether we like it or
You guys
not,
served under the uniform.
it's gonna
How
happen.
many
We're
of
gonna
you guys
have
served
problems
with the
sometimes. I
uniform?
think it should be
Any of you
tabled.
guys served in the service?
It's not gonna be perfect.
None, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you, a whole bunch of dead people, including people from Monessen, died because of that flag. You guys stood back and maybe went to school, you know, avoided the draft, whatever you did.
Neither.
I can tell you one thing, you don't put no time clock on us, and we got set.
Okay, fine. We'll drop that. I have no problem with that. That was a point that we can bring up later if it becomes necessary.
Going into dictatorship, and you know.
No, this has nothing to do with that.
And I got one more suggestion, you know, on that sign that you got put on 9th Street Park, just for the record, and you can probably know this. There's a POW sign missing there. They should be up. And there's no POW, so evidently whoever got
the bright idea to do that. I think they did a great job. But you know, the POW plays a role in all of our ward and where we stand for.
When you say
Where
for
are
a
you talking
flag,
about, on the fence or?
On 9th Street Park.
no, where would you
No,
want the
well,
flag
mural's
to be?
not finished.
There's a PW?
It's not finished. The mural's not finished.
Pardon?
The mural is not finished. It's gonna be, there's
Well,
gonna
I'm
be
just
more
saying the
added.
POW
And
is
that,
not
and that's
finished.
fine,
It
you know,
ain't
whatever
started. I'm
we
just
need to
saying.
know, you know, we're just trying, it's a Veterans Park, so if that's something that needs to be added, cause it's not finished, and they're doing a mock-up to work on the rest
It
of the
needs to be
spring.
added.
So what needs to be added?
The POW.
Okay, that'll be added. You know, if
You
anybody
can
else,
ask any
if
vet
anybody has
if they're
anything
not
else before we
forthcoming.
finish it, you need to let us know, because they're working on a mock-up now, okay? So I do I can
But
add
it looks
that.
good the way it is.
But I will
It's
have them
just
add that.
Missing that.
Okay, gotcha. But, yeah, if there's anything else, let me know before, cause they're gonna be getting ready to finish at this summer, okay? But I will make sure they add the POW,
I
okay?
appreciate that.
We're trying to do it right, so we think that, we'll make sure it's added.
So E is tabled?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's just discussion on, drop the motion. No problem with that whatsoever. The next one is discussion and motion of a resolution of the council of the city of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, authorizing and mandating the repayment of funds from the city line usage fund. This is something we talked about at some length earlier in this meeting. Could I make this a motion, and could I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
One, how's this gonna be tracked?
Quarterly?
No, we
I
have,
mean,
we,
where are we gonna know where we're at?
the,
Quarterly?
the QuickBooks has a line usage account that keeps track of that very well.
Okay,
And I believe he said the city clerk was gonna reconcile that quarterly, so we
Right.
could.
Right. Coincide with the payments.
Yeah, that way, that's the reason we went
Yeah.
down, what, 70,000 this year?
Right,
$50,000 from the year before.
right.
That was reconciled, that removed that part of that debt.
I really expect this never to hit the budget whatsoever.
just so it's clear, and I'm saying this publicly, there can be and possibly could be a time where it may hit the budget, and the budget can't do it that much.
In which case,
Being very clear about that.
it wouldn't get done.
Can that be added in there?
It's, we're gonna be
Even though
so,
I think
well,
we
we're
just
gonna be so,
always did it.
we're gonna be so far ahead,
It won't be.
even initially, that we'd have to go a year.
Because we've already
Yeah.
put the 70.
Yeah. So,
I hear what you're saying. Because we've
I-
already actually put the
yeah.
70 on.
so you're gonna
You see
owe,
what I'm saying?
What's that?
From last year. when
From
we-
last year, we
We
already
reconciled it
did
already.
70,000 on it, so we
reconciled
wouldn't have to
Yeah,
make
that
any
doesn't
payments this year.
encompass a year payments.
Huh?
but you're going to reconcile those accounts on a quarterly basis, right? So let's say March 31st comes around, your first payment's due from your general fund to the line usage account. Your city clerk will say, okay, how much in wages can be attributed that were paid out of the general fund to be put back?
Correct. But
So that number is likely going to match the city's obligation every quarter.
But there could be times, especially if, say, we had a bad winter and there's no line vac truck out there, there's plowing, and doing other jobs, that we don't have anything to charge back to.
If there was a time that the city missed a quarterly payment, you could always adjust the amortization schedule.
Okay. Just so it's adjustable. It's like we just acquired a big thick payment book for a very expensive car, and we don't wanna miss payments. But I just want everybody to be clear, that could happen.
What happened? I were hearing it, sometimes I couldn't hear it, particularly when I make that. What is it?
My only question was, not question, my comment was, there is an amortization schedule of 40 years at $2,000 a quarter, I think what we've come up with, roughly. And while we're gonna be able to take money from, say, wages during the summer where the vac truck is being used, so we can charge the vac truck and labor towards that bill. There could
was
be
it,
a
wasn't it?
time when the winter comes, where we say we have a bad winter, and there is no vac truck out there doing anything for the inlets, and The inlets can't get repaired because it's minus below zero, and the crew is busy just keeping streets clear, salted, and things like that. If there's nothing to offset what we wanna do for every quarter payment, it's gonna come out of the general fund, because we've made a commitment to tell the taxpayers, we're gonna do this, put the money back. And I'm just making clear to everybody that there could be a possibility that, especially this time of the year, or come November and December, when I'm sitting there, 1 payroll, 2 bills, that's gonna be number 3. And I just don't want no surprises, that's all.
Skip it.
And if we miss a payment, and then it gets added on, or something of that nature. I'm viewing this as though, like when you take an auto loan out, or you took a home loan out, okay? You've got the big payment book, that's what we're doing, and committing to that, okay? I don't wanna miss a payment, okay, and say, whoops.
But that's every quarter, right?
It's every quarter.
Well, let me ask you a question. On the winter like we have right now, it's a mild one.
Mhm.
So we know we didn't use that much salt.
Correct,
But we used some blacktop because of the holes that we had.
correct.
And by the way, it cost me $1,500 in my car today because of that. But nevertheless, so there's a cost there somewhere. Can you make that a double payment to cover, or not allow? Because sometimes they don't allow you to make.
Well, we're not taking, this isn't a loan that we asked a bank for and we're making a payment to. We're paying the citizens of Monessen back from the general fund to the line usage. So it's an internal. I mean, some people could even say it's funny money. You're moving this to pay this, okay? But it's still a commitment. And that's what I want to stress. That commitment is very important. But if I come back and say, I've got to make payroll, and I've got some bills we have to pay, I can't do the $900 this month. I'm gonna have to put it off a month or 2 until I can catch
How
up.
much money did you borrow?
No, we're not borrowing any money.
How much money you owe?
Was it 300,000?
$301,595.15.
The total amount, because some of this money was already credited back, $448,938.
All I'm saying is, I just want everybody to understand that there could be a missed payment or a lapse, and we have to catch up, that I don't want people banging the thing up here going, what the hell did you do? You can't make payments. I just want to be upfront with everybody.
That's one of the problems we have. Everybody is here. And you can look, all 12 of us. And that's everybody. Nobody else gets addressed.
Well, it'll probably be in the paper.
That's the reason I'm saying, maybe on items like that, there's nothing wrong with saying to the people that actually pay the taxes in Monessen, when they come here and pay the taxes, give them a piece of paper and say, by the way, this is where we're at and why. I mean, you don't have to know a lot.
Question,
But
so,
all I'm saying is, if you want people to come to the meeting,
question, if this is quarterly, and let's say we're doing $2,000, okay? So, that's $8,000 a year, and if we're paying one of our employees to do something in the line usage, that right there covers us for a year.
Oh, yeah, and more so. We did some $90,000 last year.
So, I mean, that's,
It's already discussed, and
that's
we said
what's-
sometimes.
I'm just
maybe
reiterating
it's
it. Thank,
every
yeah, thank you,
You-
Linda. I see, we got control of meetings like this.
Right.
You may, in March
Come on.
31st,
Come on.
March 31st, your city clerk may say, oh, look, you can reconcile a credit to the line usage fund in the amount of $8,000. Well, guess what? You're done for 2023.
We're done.
It could get ahead, it could get behind, and I just want everybody to understand that.
Well, that's understandable.
I would bet that by the end of the year, we are probably 4 or 5 years ahead of schedule already. Just normal course of business. Anyway,
And that was a nice discussion, because it's broken down.
we need to have, we had a second, we need to take a roll on that? Yeah, we call
Give me a
roll.
second. Do you need a second?
Don
Don
Gregor had the second,
Yep.
okay.
Need a vote.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes?
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. The last thing I want to be very quick on, primarily because I don't have the paperwork here I thought I had, but I would like to point out that at the Civic Center, January 24th, they started their basketball season over there. On January 21st, they had 380 people in the building doing the practice and so forth. On January 22nd, they had 250. On January 28th, 300 people. On January 29th, 280 people. On February the 3rd, 300 people. February the 4th, 296 people. And the only point I'm trying to make is I'm very pleased that the Civic Center is getting lots of use. That represents a lot of kids doing a lot of things, and that's a good thing. So I'm very pleased with that.
Because it's updated.
At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Orchakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $67,629.51. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the recreational account in the amount of $832.59. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment B.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Fund in the amount of $1,733.86. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment C.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the Grant Fund in the amount of $2,703.72. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment D.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Make a motion to pay the following invoices from Line Usage Fund in the amount of $8,792.31. All invoices are attached to this agenda as attachment E.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Make a motion to authorize payment for retiree health insurance from the general account in the amount of $8,468.72 for January 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the transfer of $69,092.76 from the general fund to the payroll account to cover the payroll expenses for February 2nd, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the transfer of $5,000 from the general account to the healthcare account.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
And these are the following account balances in the bank. General fund has $497,496.34. Payroll has $11,608.06. Healthcare has $7,885.19. Parks has $9,718.14. Recreation has $3,260.45. Line usage has $619,884.66. The grant fund has $94,691.75. Fire escrow has $49,367.48. Debt service has $503,926.08. American Rescue has $271,195.55. The refuge account has $302,416.72, and liquid fuels has $275.07. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Councilwoman Lois Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. If I may, I'd like to just defer the reading of the streets report and the library report for our next meeting on the 23rd.
Thank you. Councilman John Nestor, would you like to give us your report?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of council, administrative staff, and the citizens of Monessen. I'll be deferring, as Councilwoman Thomas said, till the end of the month. I will, though, would like to motion for a resolution of the council, for the council of the city of Monessen, county of Westmoreland, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to change the annual tenant license and related fees required for the properties excluding personal residence. The fees change for each unit as the follows. $25 per unit if the owner resides in the city of Monessen or maintains the principal place of business within the city limits. 2, $50 per unit if the owner resides outside the city of Monessen or surrounding areas and has a designated property manager who resides in the city limits. 3, $100 per unit if the owner does not reside in the city and does not have a designated property manager. And 4, $65 for a vacant building registration.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
What are the current fees?
I don't have the paper in front of me, but I know, like, for example, number 3 was gonna be it was $250 at the current rate.
So you've lowered them
We're
all?
lowering it down.
Okay.
We need to lower number 4.
No, we kept 4 the same.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Other than that, I just met with the mayor yesterday just to talk about some emergency medical services, and that is it. I yield the floor, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we talk a little bit about that emergency?
I would definitely love to talk about that, Mayor, please.
First off, Councilman Gregor and I met with Mon Valley EMS 2 weeks ago, and we asked them for some very specific information concerning their response times and so forth. I come back from vacation, none of that had taken place. I sent some email to her, but I also started to understand that maybe we have a problem with our EMS. I called as an example Charleroi, and Charleroi has shifted to Ross Raver West Newton EMS. And this comment was they love them. That first off, they didn't understand the problems that they were really having with Mon Valley EMS until they switched over to Ross Raver EMS. And that really drove home something. The same was happened with Denora. So hence, we all understand that Mon Valley EMS lost a contract with Allegheny Health. We know that it appears anyway that they're probably responding to maybe 50% of the calls in Monessen, and the rest are falling over to the beat list, which would be Ross Raver, Tri-County, Washington, ambulance and chair. The bottom line is that I think that we have got to a point that we need to, as a city, at least evaluate what our EMS carrier is. I ended up calling every EMS provider in southwestern Pennsylvania. I talked to them all. There's only 2 that are interested in coming to Monessen, one of which is Washington Ambulance and Chair, and the other would be Ross Raver West Newton EMS. If you look at it from a systematic perspective, it makes sense with Ross Raver because we're in the center of their service area. They take care of Charleroi, they take care of Denora, they take care of Belle Vernon, they take care of Ross Raver. We happen to be in the middle of this, and it would just make sense. If we went with Washington, it would mean that we're an independent island way over here, that their closest office would be Bentleyville, but most of their assets are all the way in Washington. So there's something to be said for that. On top of that, I think that we need to all understand that we have had it very easy with EMS. That Ross Raver, Washington and every other EMS provider I talk to start talking about stipends. What can the city provide them to keep them in business? And they have some videos, they have some documentation that shows that, as an example, they make a call. They get a 911 call. They respond to something. They leave they leave the garage. That very effort right there was $750. That's what it costs for the truck, the manpower, whatever, to go out and make that call. When they come back, they have to take discounts for Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, and it works out to maybe the money they get back is like $200 with a $290 copay for the people. In other words, they're losing money. And the way that these companies typically make up for it is through selling subscriptions. And maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. All I'm saying is, right now, our goal is to meet with the directors of Mon Valley EMS to understand, are they really a company that's got problems, or is there something that can be corrected? That's the first thing. I would rather keep it local if at all possible. But by the same token, I'm not willing to risk public lives in the city of Monessen. I want a reliable service, and that is by far the most important thing that we're doing. So I hope that it doesn't come back, but it may come back that we have to go with somebody else, and there may be some very tough decisions on how we fund that and how we take care of that, how we support it, so forth. Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. We have a resolution prepared that if they close the doors tomorrow, we will call an emergency meeting of City Council the next day, and we will invoke we'll make some changes. I am not going to tolerate a city without an EMS provider.
Absolutely.
Now, did they get this way because Allegheny Health pulled out?
It didn't help.
It didn't help, but they've had a lot of bad luck. I don't doubt that at all. They lost to North. They lost Charleroi. They lost their Allegheny Health. It could be bad management. It could be lots of things. I don't know.
Yeah, you would look at.
Yeah.
I would recommend that Councilman Nestor and the mayor meet with their board of directors, and I'm going to try to reach out and set up a meeting. I mean, that's,
Yeah, thank you.
well, I'm around during the daylight.
Yeah, I know, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you being there. I mean, you have the knowledge and the skill set.
I just don't want to step on your toes,
No,
John.
that's fine. But I think this is something that needs to happen as soon as possible, because
Well, I think
Yeah.
you guys should meet with them before, and then you can get some information, come back to council. I mean,
because at the rate of this and how the calls are coming in, and only not even half of it is being taken by them, is kind of a little unsettling. I don't need a half-baked cake, and I don't think neither do you. It's kind of a little bit hurting that these calls are not really being taken and manhandled by that service down there. I mean, it's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of overhead out there. I mean,
You're talking about the ambulance, right?
Yes.
When that girl came here,
Yes.
here we go,
Yes.
you guys drilled her. Go back on the meeting, you guys drilled her,
Yes, we did.
big time.
the situation has changed
So,
since then.
so then, in my opinion, you know, when I see Rose Traver ambulance inside of a football game in Monessen, I think it sucks. When I see, you know, the
Okay, well, let's-
girl coming into Rose Traver, I think it sucks.
Let's finish
One
it.
time, we were the premier ambulance service.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I don't
They
disagree.
were the
Let's-
best.
We need to bring them back.
We need to do something. Absolutely.
That's the same thing I thought when I was
But
in.
you need to get that girl back here to maybe be able to tell you what it is that she needs.
Let's continue here. Councilman Gregor, would you give us your report?
I'm going to table mine to the next. I do have one question, though.
Okay?
And this is more Lowe's department. I see that they're putting in the gas lines through the city,
Yes.
and up on Schoonmaker there, they've got it pretty well tore up. And it looked to me like they were putting in a final coat finish. That's not the finish?
No.
What are they, when they do that up there, are they gonna do a half lane, or are they going to just,
It should
Curb to
be
curb.
curb to curb.
pardon
I
me?
think what they're doing right now, they're not gonna pave that until the weather's
The weather's
set,
better.
not going back.
That's
and
just a
forth.
temporary-
But they couldn't leave it like that because it was totally out of control. So they
Thank
filled
you.
that in, but eventually it'll be.
They're coming back.
They're coming back.
Do you have that in written?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's-
Yeah, it's in contract, yes.
Yeah.
The reason I say that, because I seen that finished code,
Yeah,
and I
everything.
said, they ain't coming back.
No, they're coming
Well,
back.
that made me a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I seen.
But, you know,
What
there's
they
no
were
way
doing
can
in the-
leave that
with
like
the
that for a
coal
couple
patch was
months.
not
'Cause
suitable.
You tore
It
up
wasn't
your car,
standing
imagine
up.
It
all the
wasn't
other
standing
cars
up.
will be
They said
getting
they
torn up
needed
for a
that.
few months until they
Okay.
do.
I just wanted to double check on that.
Marvin checked on that.
PennDOT specs, I believe, are a half lane on their road. So I don't, it's gonna be dependent on what that contract is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It just,
Okay.
We talked about it.
it made me a little nervous when I saw that page.
Me too, I thought it was like,
Thank you, Lois.
At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment. Please.
Turn your timer on.
We tabled that.
Turn it on.
Are you just curious how long you're gonna speak?
It is very brief.
Okay.
I've acquired this from the city.
Okay.
Before, I want to ask Mayor your thoughts about this study.
It's a 2-year-old study.
But, pardon me?
It's a 2-year-old study and it shows
Okay,
it.
this is what I was looking at. The resolution page is 2021. The meetings were 2019.
Mm-hmm.
This year, it's going on 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then the front of this says 2030.
Mhm.
So what I'm asking you is two things. What are your thoughts about this, and does it need to be revised? I'm sorry, my name's Ed LaFever from Keystone Drive. That's the first. What do you think about this? Does it need to be updated? And what happened to the public meetings and the focus groups? They just like,
Well, they quit being called.
pardon me,
They quit being called.
just like that.
Well, they produced a report. There was no need to continue having them. But let's talk about that for a second. That is a comprehensive plan that you're referring to, and that comprehensive plan is a very important plan towards the showing to anybody else that you have some scope of what you want the city to look like. It called for things like doing a new zoning ordinance, and we did a new zoning ordinance. It called for changing several ordinances, and we made those changes. But some of the detail in that, as you're well aware, is very dated. It was somebody's vision to the future that is already outdated. And it's got to be considered to be a living document. It's got to be considered to be something that has a lot of good substance to it, but it also has some things that need to be modified as we go.
Well, you did, in part of this, you did begin the demolition.
Yes,
That part I noticed you've been successful at.
right.
But do you think, will you go along with updating this, or will you start another study, or?
Well, the only problem with
updating
that particular document, it gets to be very expensive very quickly. And that's not something that we've really set aside money for. We have several things going on. First off, we're still part of the DCED stamp program. That provides some assistance for keeping things like this up to date. We've made application and we received 2 teams from HUD, from their Distressed Communities Technical Assistance Group. So there is going to be some resources coming into the city that will allow us to look at those type of things and to understand what needs to be remodified or updated or whatever. And that's another reason why I'd like to have town halls, because it's an opportunity to discuss those kinds of
So
things.
this isn't a dead idea?
It is not a dead document.
Because, does the state require a municipality or a city to have such a
No,
plan?
but you
Yes,
really.
they do, yes.
Do they do?
Yes, they do require
Okay.
it, yes.
If we did not do that in 2019,
That's what it says here.
if we
Right.
did not do that in 2019, the
Well, the
state would
meetings
have
were
never.
2019.
I'm sorry?
The meetings were in 2019.
Yes.
But
Right.
to begin the process, yeah,
The state would have never considered us giving us a penny for anything.
For anything.
We were told point blank.
Okay,
There
you
was gonna
have
be
to have that.
Right.
If you don't have it, you're not eligible for state funding.
Oh, okay. My second question.
It opens up us to a lot of things that we otherwise wouldn't be eligible.
So just don't throw this away.
No, don't throw it away. There's still good information in it.
No.
There's still good information in that. But don't treat it as the Bible that's unchangeable. It's not. It is a living document that needs to grow with the city. When that was done, EV cars were not nearly as prevalent as they are starting to become now. And I have no idea what they're going to be 5 years from now. Even if we were to rewrite it today, we'd be out of date tomorrow. We just need to treat it as a guideline more than anything.
And you will continue to do that.
And we will continue to do that.
Okay. I just, let me discuss this budget for a minute. It'll be brief. Is my time up yet?
We're on another subject.
Oh, this is another subject?
Another subject.
Okay.
Right,
Recently, I got an email that gave me some advice. And it said, be careful what you ask for because you may not like the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I asked for a budget
Mm-hmm.
for the city. And I got two. Two budgets produced by two city officials, each having access to the same financial figures, but some of those figures varied substantially. These are the two budgets. So, Mr. Mayor, have you decided to accept one of these budgets?
Yeah, there's only one budget that was officially voted on and accepted, yes.
Okay, I thought, because they differ, and I thought maybe the two officials plus yourself would get together and actually do a compromise budget.
And we actually did. That's what the final resulting budget is.
So these are
That,
legitimate?
no, those were, one of them's a work in art and the other is a final budget.
Which is the final?
I'd have to look at them to see.
Let me ask you just one more question here. Under the line, I was looking for a line usage fund. This is something. Under one budget, liquid fuels transfer come to $90,000. On the other one, zero. It says 90,000, budget 2023, the other, zero. So, there's mistakes in both?
Possibly.
There's always mistakes.
Budget is one's best guess at what is going to happen that year. It is something that everybody ought to follow to the best of their ability. There's no doubt about that. But it is nothing better, more than a best guess. As an example, last year we got money in from the gas company for tearing up McKee, and we did a settlement deal with them. You don't know what's going to happen throughout the year.
I understand, but the budget should be in pretty close range.
It is to the best of our ability.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That baffled me because that, let me ask one more. Where does it say in here, is it under some heading, general fund?
No.
So if you take money out of the general fund, what would I look for?
Well, first off, in the first heading, income, you just did 3 minutes.
So,
No, please continue. The general fund, and I'd be happy to sit down and go through that budget with you and show you exactly how that works. But the general fund is really all the real estate money and all the money that comes in that is not otherwise targeted for something, such as line usage or whatever.
okay. And the city probably will be publishing in the local paper some sort of assets.
There is a synopsis by state law that has to get published, yes. And we have to report this to DCED as well.
Within what time frame?
I think it's March the 1st. I could be wrong.
It's the end of March. The vast majority of the municipalities have a hard time meeting that. That's to complete the audit. There's no real penalty for it. I'll put it to you that way.
I know a budget has, like you mentioned, Mayor, I know a budget you can't, well, I tell you the truth, I have to stick to a budget.
Well, you know what your income is, and you,
I run my home on, I know the incoming money. And if I run short, then I have to borrow money. I just think, so my budget balances every month. You're saying, in essence, the city needs a budget, but it's not in stone. It's not in cement. I mean,
well, it's in stone as much as you can follow it. Let's put it that way.
okay.
Thank you.
I got 2 questions. My name is Pino, 45 Montraver, 15060, still in Monessen. When is that coffee shop gonna get rid of that, Fayette County sign? I mean, we're in Westmoreland County. I mean, it really sucks. When I go by there, I mean, we're in bad shape as it is in Westmoreland County. I don't have to go to Fayette County.
That's something that they did to do the film. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're the mayor, right?
Yeah, but
You
that's
check
a,
with the other 2 mayors, see what you guys
They
think.
did pick up a season 2 finally. Another network picked up that show. So there could be talks of maybe them coming back and retaping in this area, but that is only hearsay at this point.
right.
That's one question. Second question, on the refuge committee last week, you guys were all notified that County Holland and Westmoreland Waste, their people were gonna be in Val Vernon. No one from Monessen showed up. They did from North Val Vernon.
I was
Yeah,
on the phone with
if
Mike.
you-
I couldn't make the
Yeah.
actual, but I
You
was
were
on the phone.
Yeah,
But I heard the whole meeting,
I
and
deeply
Yeah, but-
and I
apologize.
participated too,
Let me
Pino.
I deeply apologize. My
Yeah.
great aunt passed away. I was in a funeral
I'm
for
sorry.
Thursday and Friday. It's okay. But Mike was there for me to dictate any information I had, questions,
He
concerns,
wasn't
and
there.
then
He
pass
was
it
on
to
the
me.
phone.
But I heard the whole meeting.
There was
Pino.
another- there
And
was
I
a-
participated in the
all I'm
meeting.
saying is this.
Pino, real fast. There was also another group of people here that they could not be left alone. There was it a junior council or something that rented out that room? So there
I
had
just
to be an
could-
You guys
adult.
had all the questions for 2 months. And here, the answer was there. All you had to do was ask the question. I didn't see nobody there. Mike, they called him up and had him on the phone, which you could barely hear him, but
But I asked
You know,
my
that's pretty much
questions
it.
and
I'm only
participated with
telling
it.
you,
Right.
don't cry the blues when they do something, come back and say, I got 20 phone calls. I got 15 phone calls. I don't think it's a bunch of BS, to tell you the truth. But at the end of the day, when they come up, because they don't come up often, but when they come up, you should show up.
All right. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll be back next month.
Bishop Bass, my address is 1225 Leeds Avenue, Monessen. Normally, I don't talk at these meetings. I listen and I take notes, but I heard the discussion on both sides. I want to go back to that issue of establishing rules and regulations. And just briefly, I heard both sides. I understand some of the points they were making. But I was employed in Washington, D.C., and one of the things we did is I had to go to the meetings at the People's House, the U.S. Capitol. And one thing I noticed in all the meetings, there were time limits. And even on the committee meeting, you just couldn't.
Go back to Washington.
You couldn't just go on and on because you felt like you could go on and on. They had time limits for everybody, including the chairman. I'm sure that probably exists in the state government. In the church, I chair the General Assembly. A lot of people there, so there has to be time limits. If everybody just arguing, we even established procedures where you could only talk once. You couldn't keep running back or throwing comments out every time somebody said something that you didn't agree with. Now, tonight is different, because there's not a lot of people here, there's not really controversial on the subject. So it's not that significant tonight, but if you had a hot topic and a lot of people here, then rules would have to apply here. And a lot of people, I was born and raised here, and a lot of people are real small-minded in the sense that they don't consider the broad issues. They just come to a meeting with what's in their head, and it has to be that way or nothing. But when we're dealing with a lot of people, everybody has to compromise somewhat. And to me, that having rules, I'm just saying, my suggestion is that you don't throw it out, but you go back and discuss it. You can even discuss it with the citizens of Monessen and try to come up with something that will work so that there will be some control. Things I noticed, like the first comments we had notwithstanding, I thought fit right into why we should have rules. And that's really clear when he gets up every meeting, this person I'm referring to, and then leaves. And so why can't you control me? What I found out it did to the people that I was sharing, it made them frame their thoughts and think about the issues in advance so they could come in within the time limit. And so I just think my opinion on that is you need to go back and figure out what will work, talk to some of the others that have objections, and come up with something that will limit the public participation in time. Because if you don't, my experience has been they'll just go on and on. You say A, and then they'll come right back with B. You say C, trying to pacify them, they'll come back with D. And so you do have to have, and I suggest, and I'm done when I suggest that you limit the comments to the issues at hand. So talking 30 years ago was not germane to a specific topic tonight. It could be on some topics, but so you have to have some rules and make them stay on the subject that you're talking about and not just going all over the place. All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Reverend
Bishop.
Thank
Can
you.
I say something on what he said, because it's really like, to me, it was funny. You don't get advance notice of what you're gonna talk about. You gotta come in here at 6:30 and pick up a piece of paper and read. Oh, where do you get it at?
It's posted on the website and on the door of the
24
building.
24
hours in advance.
So if you don't have a computer, then.
You can come down here and get
It's
an
on the
agenda.
door.
Does anybody, well, I can see, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It really touches a lot of people. What you guys are trying to do, and I'm saying again, okay, is trying to raise the Russian flag. There ain't no Russian flag in this baby. It's
Nope.
the American flag. Okay? And we're not in the state capitol, and we're not in Washington DC where there's 140 members and 500 members and they all come up and speak. There's 8 people. But I tell you what I seen. 2 years ago in this chamber next door, I seen him talk for hours, and you know you were there. I seen everyone, the other 2 mayors that he have on his side talk for a half hour at a time, and that was okay, because they were on this side. So they were giving a whole bunch of crap to the people that were sitting there. But you forgot, you got a short memory. You don't have no memory at all, I'll tell you again, resign. Give one of the other 2 mayors your job.
All right, just real quick, we were joined by our treasurer, but I do believe you're going to defer till the next meeting. Thank you. Is there any other public comments to be made?
I agree with Reverend Bass.
In which case, could I have a motion for
Make a
adjournment?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Did better today. Huh? Or no?
It's not after 8 o'clock.